the stock market, or maybe the banks, which is what we've been talking about today, the profits of the financial sector. Even the New York Times around 2010, which really is not happy with the financial sector, was really happy when bank profits started to come back. And so then citizens get ignored, at least most of the time. So here's the core. So that the kind of financialization that we've been talking about so far today, I'm going to talk about as the first phase of financialization. This is the rise of the finance sector and its conception of control of the economy of firms. And this has a lot to do with kind of the deregulation. It has a lot to do with dismantling Glass-Steagall, as well as regulatory capture, at least in the broad sense. Efficient market hypotheses. We can trust the sector to be self-regulating. But also in this idea that the notion that what's good for the U.S. is no longer what's good for GM. Right? What's good for the U.S. is what's good for Wall Street. Now, when I was first cutting my teeth in this business, I really didn't like GM. I didn't like big corporations. Because back in the 70s, those were the people the left guys worried about. Okay? I would take them back. If we had behaviors that were around market share, employment, standards of living, and the like. Okay, there's a second phase too, which is how this financialization of the economy has changed the behavior of the non-finance sector. And at this point, I'm going to take real issue with what Tim had to say, because I think financialization is part of the driver, one of the drivers of income inequality, even income inequality among earners. Okay, so I don't know, this next part, I don't know how much I want to talk about. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to think about this. So the punchline is, there's a lot less banks than there used to be, and there's a lot more money floating around the financial system than there used to be. Right? Now, that increase in money is partly a flow of funds out of other places. It's the rise of institutional investors. It's the rise of global capital flows. Right? So there's money coming in. And at the same time, and this is under the kind of the core idea and the too big to fail systemic risk, there are fewer and fewer actors. Right? And this chart doesn't even sort of point, everybody when they're mad wants to point at the top 5 or 6. There's still some other actors out there. Now, these things don't just happen. They were not the reaction to some kind of inexorable market forces. There's a series of political decisions, regulatory decisions, feedback loops. As the bankers became more profitable, they became more effective politically, and even more impressive. I heard somebody early today saying they were the smartest people in the, somewhere. Well, you know, really successful people always seem really smart. And they're always willing to claim it, too. How else did I get so rich? I got some notes here that if you sort of chart these changes, in a moment I'm going to talk about kind of the rise in income on the financial services side. They chart